still on that chatterbait. I haven't been out here for a few weeks. Look how fat that fish is. Oh my God, what a little tusker. That thing's, it is not very big, but I bet it's pushing 3 pounds. I bet it's pushing 3 pounds. That's number 4 for the morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is Wednesday 11th. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do it this morning. And we're gonna put it out here this morning as far as the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast goes. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to our subscribers. And welcome if you are a new person just watching the podcast. This is where we're going to talk about what's happening in San Diego amongst the lakes and bass fishing, and what is happening in the past week or even in the past couple of weeks. So we got plenty to talk about, as usual. First thing, got to get the coffee going. You know. First thing was we had Matt Lucero from the Department of Fish and Wildlife do a seminar. The Friends of the San Diego Lakes, Tom Lowry, Rob McGargle, they brought in Matt Lucero from the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and he did a seminar on Tuesday night. No, it wasn't Tuesday. Thursday night, excuse me, last Thursday. And it was a good attendance. We had 60 people show up. It was a free event. We had pizza. We had drinks supplied by the San Diego Bass Club. The room was supplied by San Diego Bass Masters, so kind of a conjunction thing. And then Tom brought in Matt Lucero from Department of Fish and Wildlife. And Matt did a seminar about it was lengthy. It had a slideshow, had a question and answer period. He brought in a lot of good facts about population densities in our local lakes as far as largemouth bass goes, population densities compared to sizes, and what we need to do to improve upon that. Most of it was about, or in a general compartmentalized whatever, he said start taking smaller fish, and that'll help fewer mouths to feed, help the bait populations in the lower lake, in the San Diego lakes. Fish will get bigger. That was that in a nutshell. That was one of his things. There was a number of questions raised, and one of them was, how does pure water affect the lakes? Because there's this whole pure water project going on with San Diego, San Diego Pure Water Project, that is taking black water, gray water, and then running it through a filter, and then pumping it back into a lake in like a holding facility, and then using that water. So it's a whole toilet to tap thing. It's been going on for quite a while. The main, right now, the only lake that I know of that's receiving that water is Miramar, or it's going to be receiving that water is going to be Miramar. What does that mean for the fishing in Miramar? Well, we asked that question, and he did, move this a little bit here. He did answer it to the best of his ability. I guess that's what I should say. Am I supposed to give an answer here? I don't know. It's funny now, I can throw my opinion out there. I can throw my hat in the ring, I guess. I have a platform to stand on. So my opinion, not that it matters. It really doesn't matter at all, because this is 100% my opinion. It's not conferred with anybody. The whole thing and the studies done on Pure Water Project, it seems to be a huge political thing, a huge hugely political. There's been so much money dumped into it from the city, you know, billions of dollars, literally. And I think they have an influence on what the final outcome is. He told us that, Matt told us that we don't know what the outcome is. Okay, we don't know what the outcome is for Miramar by pumping pure water into it. So, and then, you know, another thing that was said that evening was, we talked about the fertility of lakes. Okay, he talked about the fertility of lakes, and in his graphs and whatever, and this was before the whole Pure Water Project question came up. He was showing us graphs on fertility of lakes, how the size of fish, and blah blah blah. And what I saw, now this is what I saw. I think it was agreed upon, was that it was agreed upon by the people that I had talked to, that the fertility of lakes is in direct correlation with their watersheds. Hodges has the largest watershed in San Diego. El Capitan has a huge watershed. El Capitan and so what these watersheds do is they bring in nutrients to the lake. Sutherland is another one. They have these huge watersheds, and they drag all these nutrients into the lake, which in turn feeds. It just creates the whole system. It creates the stuff that bait fish feed on, and then the bass feed on the bait fish. If there's more bait fish, if there's more stuff for the bait fish to feed on, plankton, blah blah blah, then there is more shad for the bass to feed on. It's basic. And so we saw these graphs, and it was like, oh, okay, there's a direct correlation of this, like what the watersheds push into the lake, and then how the lake produces after that fact. That was great. Yeah, that made a whole lot of sense. It made a whole lot of sense to me. And then, towards the end of the deal, somebody asked, well, what's going to happen with pure water being pumped into our lakes? And pretty much the answer was, well, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen because it's never been done before. It has to do with how much the lake can handle, how fast the pure water is turned over. If it's allowed to sit there for a number of maybe weeks, months, maybe a year, then it won't have that much of a detrimental effect to the lake. Then they don't know they don't know what those turnovers are, which is bullshit. Not saying that this is bullshit on Matt, but they know exactly how fast they're going to turn that water over in the lakes. The city does. The city knows how much they are going to pump into Miramar, and how much they're going to take out of Miramar, and what the turnover is on that. They know exactly what it is. 100%. I mean, why wouldn't you? I know how fast my bait tank turns over on the Fortune or on the Shogun. Every frickin' bait tank, I knew how fast it turned over. You have to know. Because if you're keeping fish alive, that's just a basic component, is how fast you turn water over. And I'm not saying that they're worried about the fish in Miramar. That's the last thing. That's the last concern of the city. But they will know how fast they turn that water over, how fast it takes to fill that lake with that filtration plant. But they're not telling us. They're not going to tell us how much water they're turning over. They won't tell the general public that they're going. Essentially, this is my opinion, and we fought against this. We fought against this with the city council a number of years ago. Mike Newt went up in front of the city council and told them and expressed his opinions on this pure water going into Miramar. The thing is too, is that is it only going to be Miramar, or is this going to, are they going to start putting it in other lakes? That's the big picture. Like, we've already given up on Miramar. It's already done. It's a done deal. Miramar's fucking gone. Probably get flagged for this. Miramar's gone, in my opinion. So are they going to do it to other lakes? Are we going to stand up? Are we going to say something about it when, you know, Lower Otay comes online? Are we going to stand up and say, we certainly didn't stand up and say anything about Upper Otay getting killed. They killed Upper Otay. They killed it. Not the city essentially, but the construction, but they allowed the construction around Lower Otay, and the runoff from that construction killed Upper Otay. Upper Otay. Upper Otay, before 2014, was one of the finest big bass fisheries we had in San Diego. Float tube only, catch and release only. They used to stock trout in it, catch and release trout. How about that? When Upper Otay was hammering on all cylinders. And they killed it. City killed it. Hasn't had a population since 2014. We never did get to that question as far as that DFW concern. So anyway, these are my opinions. I might ruffle some feathers. I might ruffle some feathers. We're going to keep going here. What was really cool though was that Matt came out, did a live presentation. It was on Facebook Live. You can go see it. He had a tremendous amount of information for us as far as the local lakes go. And I think Matt does a great job with the DFW. He's very fair. He's a biologist, and he has a huge area to cover. I think he does a great job, and I'm super happy that he was able to come out and talk to us. That was a great thing. That was a great thing, and he had a lot of his associates with him also, and they stood up and answered questions and whatever. We did not get into the politics of things at that. We didn't get into the lake levels. We didn't get into any of the of days opening, keeping the lakes open, whatever. This was totally a biology thing for the Friends of Lakes. So, onwards and upwards. Enough of my opinions. Speaking of lake levels, what is going on with the lake levels? So, okay, so, you know, the number one lake level that everybody's concerned with is El Capitan. I mean, we're concerned with all the lake levels because we've lost a number of lakes here. But as far as El Capitan goes, El Cap has been, I can show you this, the automated sensor here, right here. The automated sensor for El Capitan reports that it's been stable for the last 6 days. And that doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, I guess they're not pulling water out. I mean, you can see from that picture from the last 30 days that they've pulled a number of feet of vertical feet out of El Cap. But it has been maintaining for the last 6 days. Rumor has that they're going to continue to pull water out of there. I've heard rumors as far as they could go as far as Deadpool. Maybe they'll stop. So there's a number of rumors going around, none of which are good, none of which the rumors are good. But what we're seeing right now is that they've stopped pulling water. It's supposed to rain next week. So, and it's actually supposed to rain like a couple inches next week. So, you know, is that going to help? Maybe. We'll get a little bit of water out of it, hopefully. A lot of it will go on the ground at this point. The ground isn't saturated anymore from the last storms. We've had basically no rain here in San Diego. Oh man, it's just full of good news here this morning. Anyway, Otay has been maintaining its lake level. San Vicente is dropping a little bit, but not much. But it's still super low. The launch ramp at Otay is still 3 lanes, slow going on Saturday mornings. If you want to get there and get to your spot first thing, I would suggest getting there early and getting in line. And also Saturday mornings, now that we're on tournament season, you may get there Saturday morning and be 20 boats back. So if you're 20 boats back at Lower Otay with only 3 lanes open, it's going to take you a while to get in the water. So just putting it out there. San Vicente, all the lanes are open, you know, but the water is way down, and it's a long walk. As far as the lake levels go, in a lot of the other lakes. So Morena is down. Hodges is obviously down, but they've made some improvements to help with kayaking and float tubing there as far as launching goes. They've laid some aluminum mats down on the ground or something. I've seen some pictures. I wouldn't, it's like, okay, well, thanks for doing that. Why don't we just fix the dam? Sutherland is very low. Sutherland is very low. So Sutherland is reported to be at 7%, which is just about as low as I've seen it in the past. Like I said, in the past, I remember fishing it at 7, 8%, and I was fly fishing back then. I was a huge proponent of fly fishing here in local San Diego, but for a long time. But it fished okay. It fished okay back then. I didn't know what, honestly, I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I have a better idea of what's going on at Sutherland at this point, but at the same time, it's very, very low. What's going to happen? No telling. We'll see what happens as far as fishing goes. I think it might be pretty good. It's obviously going to be only for kayaks and float tubes. Anybody that can get into the water without a launch ramp. And basically the same things is going with El Capitan right now. And so Sutherland is super low, 7%. Morena is being drawn down, going into Barrett, and Barrett into Lower Otay. And El Cap's at very low, below the launch ramp. And then Hodges, Hodges is way below the launch ramp. Hodges is due to the dam, directly due to the dam. El Capitan, lake levels are due to negligence of the city council, PUD, Alvarado, Helix, and because they released a bunch of water a couple years ago. The lake was really maxed out at its safe level, and they continued to release the water into the San Diego River. Why they did that, we don't know. We have no idea. Again, no telling what the PUD thinks. It has no consideration for us. I don't know if it has to do with water prices or keeping water prices up. I don't think it does, honestly. And then, fishing people that use the lakes recreationally are definitely on the last of the list. So, we're just, like I said, just full of good news here this morning. Let's see, where are we at now? I'm going to switch hats. Okay, welcome back to San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast Lake Report for this week. What is going on with fishing reports? What is going on at the local lakes? Well, let's see here. San Vicente is like a broken record. Like I said last week, it's not changed much. It's still a deep bite. They are seeing more fish move up shallow, so that thin Cinco bite, Necco worms, light-weighted Necco worm bite. That's going to start happening here real quick. It has kind of started happening already. There has been a number of guys going out there pre-fishing for the 28th tournament, the East County Bait and Tackle tournament on the 28th. So there's a trickling of tournament guys going out there and checking it out and seeing what's going on. Mikey Panarese from East County Bait and Tackle. Let's see if I can find a picture of him. He got a big one at San Vicente, and you know, there's still big fish in there. Still big fish in there. Overall, the fishing is, I'm not going to say it's slow. It's a little tougher, and the fish are a little smaller, but you can go in there, you can catch fish. And like I said, they're starting to move up a little bit, so it's going to be a little easier to catch them here shortly. And so Lower Otay. Now, so there was the tournament here last weekend. Yeah, like not this weekend, but last weekend, the previous weekend. Congratulations to Jackson and Jake. They took first place with an 18-pound bag, and we have an interview with those guys here later. And so there's some shallow fishing going on, and a reaction bite. Nick and I went back out there on Wednesday, and what happened for us is we basically threw reaction until 11:30. So we fished the morning, we fished around the lake, we fished several different spots, and we threw chatterbaits, rattle traps, underspins. We did not throw any worms. We did not throw anything Cincos, nothing like that. We kind of scoped some fish. We saw some bait. We threw a little bit of minnow action. We came away with, how many fish did we catch? We had 14 fish for the boat. And how much weight do we have? I don't know, 14 pounds. We probably had 14 pounds. And I was hoping for something better, but that's what it is. Fish moved around a little bit. Again, it's this Otay thing. It's like they can be in one cove one day, and then if that bait moves out of that cove, you know, two days later, there won't be a fish in it. So you gotta move around, and you kind of got to get lucky a little bit. One of the main things is at Otay is to go out into deeper water and to live scope, look for bait, look for fish on bait, and then jig minnow them. Maybe you could throw a spoon on them or something like that. But there is that deep water action going on, and that could be anywhere from 20 to 70 feet deep. You know, it's kind of crazy. So there is that also. So there's two main things going on at Lower Otay. A little bit of crankbait fish, not much. And the worm bite, in my opinion, really hasn't taken off yet at Otay. Now, Lake Hodges, what's going on at Lake Hodges? I've heard conflicting reports with Lake Hodges. I heard the opener last weekend on Wednesday was pardon me. Was it a week ago? No. The opener on Wednesday was slow. Now, and I heard it's crowded. I heard there was a lot of people. So, and then I also got reports of guys having 20 fish days. So take it for what you will. I think if you get on them, if you have a good idea of what's going on at Hodges and how Hodges works, not saying that those guys that didn't catch anything don't know that, but there has been trickles of rumors of some good fishing at Hodges. I don't know how they caught them. I don't know who it was. I don't know anything about that. But the guys who told me that it was slow, you know, they were throwing crankbaits, they're throwing jigs. Overall, it was kind of slow. Crappie fishing at Hodges was good. That was a good crappie opener. Now, that brings us to El Capitan. And what's going on at El Capitan? Well, I spent the last few days, I spent the last couple days, open days at El Cap. I was there Saturday, I was there yesterday on Tuesday. And Saturday was crowded. And but it seemed like the fish bit better for me on Saturday. There was a reaction. definitely a reaction bite. You may have seen I shot a little video and put it on Facebook and Instagram if you saw that, but there was a reaction bite in the morning, chatterbaits, rattle traps, that kind of thing going on. And that was pretty much on the front of the lake. And then it was all about the drag. What happened yesterday? Overall, I caught a bunch more fish yesterday, but I spent a whole lot more time out on the lake. In fact, yesterday I was out there all day, and from morning till close, and it was the reaction bite just didn't pan out for me for whatever reason. I don't know what there was a front moving in, and I thought, man, this is going to be, you know, reaction city, and this is what we're going to do, and it didn't pan out. In fact, I caught a 4-pounder on my first cast of the day, and I was like, this is gonna be great, or is this one way or the other, you know, like, but it kind of wasn't. It was kind of just mediocre. It was, so I caught one on the reaction, threw the reaction around, went to my spots, threw a chatterbait, threw a lipless, threw this, threw that. Nothing, no crankbait fish. So then I just went to the drag and started dragging some jigs around, started dragging Carolina, free rig, this and that. And I was picking away at them, like, okay, I catch one here, go to another rock pile. Catch 2 over here, go to another rock pile. Miss one, short bite, a lot of short bites yesterday, lots of short bites. I don't know if that had to do with, I was using a chigger craw, a Crazy Legs chigger craw, and I didn't trim it up or anything, so it had big flappy things on it and big long tails and this and that. And I don't know if that had effect on it. I don't think it did, because, you know, later on in the day, conditions had changed, and they were biting it. Like towards after 2 o'clock, after 1:30, they were just like dunk dunk, and pulling the rod down, and there were no more short bites. So I think that there was a time of day deal when they were short biting it. And overall, it was good. I ended up with like high 16-pound limit. You know, every fish was over. In my biggest 5, I had that 4-pounder, and then every other fish was over 3 pounds in the biggest 5. A lot of 2.5-pound fish. Everything was like 2.5, 2.5, 2.7, 2.6. Very few fish smaller than 2 pounds. So, you know, if you go out there and scratch out a day, you're going to come away with 25 fish or whatever, and work at it, dragging, you know, going to spot, working at it, catch a couple here, catch a couple there. And for me, I caught fish from one end of the lake to the other, and with varying techniques. So, you know, you gotta use your technique for the part of the lake that you're in. But El Cap's fishing okay. It was actually, I was hoping it was going to fish better. But it's not bad. It's not bad fishing. I lost a couple of big ones. I did lose a couple of big ones. But I think that's just a standard thing for El Cap. You know, you have the thing about El Cap too is like any San Diego lake, you have a chance of catching a big one. I feel that it's a little better chance at El Cap. It's like, so when you go to San Vicente, you know, you'd be fishing along and it's like 1.5 pound, 2-pounder, 1.5 pound, 2-pounder, 2-pounder, 2-pounder. And you just don't feel like, you know, you have the chance of that 5-pounder or 7-pounder or whatever. But it seems like when you go to El Cap and you're fishing around, you know, that next little rock pile that you go hit and you make that first cast and you set the hook, and it's like, you just like, is it a big one? It's always that. It's like the same thing at kind of Hodges, you know. You just don't know if that's going to be the 10-pounder. Is that going to be a 5-pounder? Is it going to be a 7-pounder? It's like, you know, it's like, that's the thing. I kind of felt that way at Sutherland also, you know. Otay, not so much. I don't feel that way at Otay. I feel like you catch them at Otay, but I don't know what it is. At El Cap, for me, maybe it's just because I go there a lot and whatever. I just feel like I have a chance of catching that 7-10-pounder, especially at this time of the year. This time of the year this is the deal here. This is the jam. pre-spawn. And I haven't found them all cooped up, shacked up together like a school waiting to push towards the bank. I haven't found that yet. A little bit. A little bit. Congratulations to East County, and like I said earlier, congratulations to Jake and Jackson, East County Bait and Tackle. They took first place. Hold on here. Did I take a picture of it? Yes, I did. So Jake and Jackson took first place, 18.52 pounds. John Bell, Craig Taylor, you know those names, 14.95 pounds for second place. Tom Leadham took third place. Brenner Lynn, fourth place. Wayne George, fifth place. So congratulations to those guys. Anglers Marine Tournament at Paris was on February 7th, and JD Blackmore was first place. And then that's it for the tournament report. What do we have here? We have our interview. Jake and Jackson. Jake Evans, Jackson Polachek. First place interview, how they went and how they did it at Lower Otay.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started here. Welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Today we have on Jake Evans and Jackson Polachek, the two winners from not this weekend's tournament, but from last weekend's tournament, because we're filming this a little early. But at the ECBT inaugural or first of the year tournament at Lower Otay. Congratulations, you guys. You smashed them. You smashed the competition.
We had a good day for sure. Not every tournament goes like that.
I know I had to witness part of it. It was it hurt. It hurt a little bit.
We had a real good morning bite, and we kind of that really wasn't our plan. I just know from previous trips that I've been doing well in the morning in the backs of the coves and stuff, and we decided we went to our first spot and there was boats all over it, and we're like, man, screw this and let's just wing it. And we went back there and they were still there, and I don't know, man, we trapped them up pretty good, and it was a fun hour or two of the morning for sure.
Yeah. So Jake, you've been on here before, and so everybody kind of knows you if they've looked at the past podcasts. But Jackson, sure. This is your first time. Yeah. And I think most of the bass community knows who Jackson Polachek is. But if you could just tell us who you are a little bit, and for the new people.
All right, right on. My name's Jackson. From San Diego, California, born and raised here. Been bass fishing ever since I can remember, 3-4 years old. I've been tournament fishing since I was 10, 11 years old. So it's been kind of just like fishing's been engraved in what I do. I've always done it, always will do it. I love the tournament bass fish, so that's what we do for fun on the weekends here.
So how old are you now, Jackson?
I'm 22.
22 now? God damn, I'm getting old.
Sir. Yeah, I know, man. It goes quick. Older you get, faster it goes.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Okay, so you said you started out, and we're just going to go ahead and just talk about the tournament. You said you started out in the first spot, and then that didn't really work out. There's so many boats, and then you fished shallow after that.
Yeah, so I mean, we wanted to start on a high spot in the main lake, and there was a few boats on that, and I kind of knew there was probably going to be, and we had to have a really good draw. So we went over there quickly and noticed, how many people were there, and it just wasn't really happening, and we just, kind of sent it to the back of Harvey. We said, just go back there. That's where we've been catching them. So but we didn't practice back there either. This is just from previous tournaments over the last, month or two, and kind of just winged it and went back there. And we found a big school that was on the bottom and like 6-7 feet. And we just threw a trap, and I mean, once we caught one, it was like, holy smokes, it was every cast for the first hour or two, and we were just calling. We had a bunch of fish back there. One person's calling, the other one's flipping them on the deck, trying to figure out what's what. It was a good time.
Yeah.
But then,
yeah, I
after that,
mentioned it. I mentioned it in previous podcasts and whatever with fishing reports, and that the lake is kind of a little spot specific right now, because I know
it's
you guys
very
did really
spot-specific.
good in the morning, but like there was like a number of other boats out there that was kind of scratchy for
For
you.
sure. And it's kind of, like I said, we didn't practice. So I kind of just, when we pulled up, I just, trolled around. I found, an area that had a big old clump of them on the bottom, and we just started casting, and we started catching them pretty good. And we kind of just spot locked right there for a minute, and I teed off on them. But that bite only lasts, an hour or two. It's really, after 8 o'clock, it was kind of like dead. And, then we just started looking, and we went out in the middle, and, we weighed 2 fish from out in the middle of the lake. One was on an ice jig and one was on a minnow, and that was really it. But most of our work was done in 6 feet of water in the morning.
Yeah. So you said you were trapping earlier in the morning, but if you don't mind going into specifics, or you can be as vague as you want. I don't care. Or you could even lie to me. I don't care. Like I understand that we have more tournaments coming up, and that
Sure.
that you may not want to put stuff out. But was there any specifics, like as far as fishing deeper water, that helped you gain the advantage? You said you weighed in 2 fish out of there.
I really think that a lot of people don't have the patience. Those fish were deep. They were 50, 60, 70 feet of water. And that's like really a headache. If you've ever live scoped out in the middle, I mean, anything below 30 is just a headache. And lining up with them and that sort of thing. But that was really it. I think we were fishing a lot deeper after talking to some people, other people at the lake. Everyone's like, oh, we're looking for them in 20 and, down to 30. No. And it's like, oh, those ones in 60, you'll never make it to. And it's like, well, we just put on a bigger head and went for them because, no one's fishing for those. Everyone's fishing the ones up. So we went for the ones that were deeper. And, if you've seen a big ball of bait or something, grab an ice jig and drop on it quick, because they're in the bait ball and they're really deep and it's hard to line up and it moves so fast.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the deal for us, I think, was just looking deeper. Everyone was looking shallow, and I get why it's a headache. I get it. But, I think that's kind of what set us apart there. We weighed 2 4-pounders from out there, and the rest were all, shallow, and they're all 3 pounds. But our 2 big ones came out there.
What did you guys weigh?
1852.
Yeah, nice bag. That's a good bag.
Yeah,
that's a great bag.
I didn't think we had it won. I thought for sure. It seems like someone always catches a big one, and we get screwed a lot by not ever having big ones. It seems we always have consistent weight, but we never have a big one. And I kind of thought we were going to get screwed out of it by a big one, and somehow, some way, no one had a big one at this one.
Yeah. That was crazy to me. Like we all expected for there to be at least one 8-pounder caught. Brought to
There
the
always
scales.
is. There always is.
Yeah. I mean, Colton caught a 9 on the Wednesday before. There was the 15 caught. There's been 7 to 10, 15-pounders caught, whatever, every week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here.
That place just has them. That place just has big ones, man. And it's always going to have big ones, and they show up once in a while, and it's crazy the amount of big fish that were weighed there last year.
Yeah. The so what kind of tackle do you use for your ice jigs? Do you use casting tackle, or are you using like spinning tackle?
Yeah, we use bait casters.
Do you?
Usually 12 to 14 pound on just a short medium or medium heavy rod, and drop on them as fast as you can,
Yeah. I know it's old hat for you guys because you've been doing it for so long, but there's just a lot of people out there that don't even know what an ice jig is.
No, and a lot of people don't utilize it anymore. Ever since the jig head minnow thing, no one really utilizes it. But the ice jig's a great tool because you can get down to them so quickly. compared to other stuff, even a spoon, it takes forever. But an ice jig's just like a rock. It just goes down there.
Right.
So when they're moving fast and those bait balls, I mean, we're still leading them and stuff, but you have to lead the shot a little bit. And when they're moving that fast, it's so hard to get something down there. And an ice jig's just like your best, chance, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
right.
That's kind of what we utilize is ice jig and just a really heavy, minnow depth Sakamata shad with forget what it was, like a 10 gram head. I think I was using. I think it's in between 3/8 and half ounce.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's right.
heavy.
So you work with Optimum or Depths?
Yeah, we both are. We've both been with Optimum Depths for long time. Naima.
Okay.
And a lot of good companies, other companies associated with them too.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Do you have
Yep.
I'm not going to keep you guys for a long time. I'm busy. I got to go to a club meeting here real quick. And do you guys have anything else you want to add?
Just huge thank you to ECBT and El Cajon Ford and everyone that makes these tournaments possible. We're in a pretty bad state in San Diego right now for bass fishing and tournaments and kind of everything. It's kind of upsetting, but it's nice to know that some people care and want to put stuff on, because this is what we love to do, man. Every weekend we look forward to going fishing, and it's just cool that people care enough to put stuff on still with the state of our lakes and water levels and everything going on. So
I know.
Appreciate all those guys.
So speaking of which, what you guys win?
2,200, I think, and 2 eye rods and a couple goodie packages. We got some Costa sunglasses.
Yeah.
So I know we got a good little bundle.
East County really shows out like for prize packages and raffles.
They always do.
And they've got the food.
They're the best tackle shop around too, and it's not even close. It's funny, man. Those guys have everything, and the knowledge of the people in there. It's by far, you guys are the best, tackle store around, and the people that work there, and they treat everyone right, and carry a little bit of everything. You guys have a little bit of seriously everything. So
yeah, Mike does a good job of keeping it stocked and keeping it kind of edgy. He's bringing in JDM stuff.
He's got the trend. He's got the trendy stuff.
Yeah.
You got always got the trendy stuff in.
Yeah, swim baits. He's always really big into the swim baits too. So that's a big plus. Yeah,
totally. He's got. That swim bait wall is pretty crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for coming on. It's a really big deal.
Thanks for having us.
We're gonna put this out on Tuesday, and I'll see you guys on the lake.
Sweet. Sounds good, Bruce. See ya.
Thank you.
See ya. Welcome back to The Juice on this early Wednesday morning. I don't know if those help. They definitely help me look better, cover up the bags of my eyes. So what do we have for the juice today? Do you know what? I went outside and I pulled out some rods from my float tube, and that's what we'll discuss today. Still don't know. Anyway, I got my D10 hat, D10 clothing, East County Bait and Tackle. Go see Mikey. Go see the boys down at East County Bait and Tackle. Get your D10 stuff. What do we have? So this is what I've been fishing with the last couple of times at El Capitan. This goes for basically all the lakes. But this is so you're gonna see like there's 2 things. I threw 2 things last couple of trips out there. For me, I've caught fish on 2 different ways: reaction and dragging. And last week I told you about there's been a dragging bite going on. Yeah, the dragging bite's been going on for a couple 3 weeks now. And here it is. So first thing in the morning. And if you've seen, every once in a while I drop little snippets of videos and this and that, and they're terrible.
done on my phone. I throw the phone in the float tube and it's like, you don't see anything except for me, stupid me, winding a fish in and releasing a fish or whatever. But you'll see the lure that I'm catching them on. The first thing in the morning, and this has been going on for me for like several months. Some days are good, some days aren't so good. Sometimes I go in there and I'll catch half a dozen first thing. And then like yesterday, I went in and I caught one. So sometimes it works. Sometimes it works really good. Sometimes it doesn't. For whatever reason, I have to believe it has to do with the conditions at hand, weather conditions, moon phase, blah, 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 where the bait's moving around, if it's cold, how cold it is the night before, if there's a storm coming in, if it's warm the night before, have those fish moved up. It depends on the water level, if the water level is dropping or if it's maintaining. And it's funny because I thought I had all of those things. I thought I had all those things going in my favor. The water level was had been maintained for the last 5-6 days. Although the moon's not very favorable right now, but there's a storm coming in. You know, it's prefrontal. It's not a cold storm. It wasn't cold yesterday, although it was. I guess I could say it was a little cold, but even so, I don't think it was enough. The water temperature has bottomed out and now starting to climb, and which is a whole different thing. It's not a different thing, but that's one thing that I wanted to touch on was that the water temperature, you know, bottomed out at about 56 degrees at El Cap, and now all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but it's when you put your float tube in the water, it's 57. So that change from where it bottoms out to where it starts climbing again changes the dynamics of the whole lake. Like all of a sudden, things are looking up in a positive direction as far as spawning goes. Fish are getting super fat and they are preparing for the spawn. So we are officially, well, we've been officially in the pre-spawn for a few weeks now, but you can really see how the pre-spawn is happening. Just in the condition of the fish, where they're starting to set up, you're starting to see them group up a little more, and they're getting ready to push. They're getting ready for the big push. Now, for me personally, this is my jam. This is the time of the year that it goes down. If you're going to catch big limits, 30-pound limits, big fish, 8-pounders, 7-pounders, 6-pounders, whatever, now is the time to do it. Like this, and you need to find that school that's positioned and it's ready to push. And it's going to be in that position for maybe a week, 2 weeks, or whatever. And if you can find it, you can find where they're holding at to make that push, waiting for the moon or whatever, or for the water to climb up a couple more degrees, and you're going to find some spectacular fishing. Me personally, honestly, I haven't found it yet. I think I found it, but I haven't had huge big limits success yet. So anyway, that's beside the point. Hopefully soon coming. What has been going on for me here for the juice, for El Capitan and the other lakes too. This goes for the other lakes. First thing in the morning, you're still seeing it right there. I switched up my trailer a little bit, but red chatterbait, 3/8 ounce red chatterbait, jackhammer on I'm fishing on 14-pound 7-to-1 reel, and this is one of my chatterbait rods. This one happens to be a Loomis 883. I actually love that rod. That is my chatterbait rod. It has a very light tip to it, so it really tuk, 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 and then once you do hang a fish on it, it folds over on itself. It's not real fast, even though it has a light tip. It has a moderate action, but it has a light tip. The and then so once that backs off, once the sun gets up on the water, I put that rod away and we start dragging. Just go to the drag. Now you can drag several different things at the lakes, and drop shot, free rig, and whatever. But I am more focused on catching bigger fish. I want those bigger bites. I'm looking for those 8-pounders. I'm looking for that school. So what's the go-to? What's the 1-2 punch? Okay, so I want to catch them on a jig. That's my thing. I want to catch them on a jig, but I want to get bites too. So what do you do? Well, so I want to catch them on a jig. Okay, so I have a jig rod, and this is this jig rod. You guys have all seen this. 14-pound test. This is a 7 or an 8-to-1 reel. This is a 7-to-1 reel because it's in the float tube, and this rod gets utilized for several different things. But this makes a good jig rod. If it was just a specific jig rod and I was in the boat and I had a lot of different outfits to choose from, this would be an 8-to-1 reel. 7-2 rod, since it's in the float tube. If I was in the boat, it would be different. But for the float tube, 7-2 rod, 3 power, and 3/8 ounce jig. This is a black and purple with a jigger craw on the back, and I pour these jigs. If you guys want them, DM me. It's a good jig. Look how small it is. Look how cute that thing is. This is a great jig. I've been pouring these. This is for dragging around rock, and it's not real good. You can't really pitch it into wood. It's not a pitching jig. It's not a jig like that. This is for throwing it around rock, throwing it on points, throwing it. See that? Look at that. There you go. Dragging it slow, and I do these in a 3/8 and a 1/2 ounce. And in fact, what I should have on there right now is a 1/2 ounce because of the way the weather is and the wind and conditions like that, and where the fish are positioned. So the fish are positioned in like 10 to 13 feet. That's the jam. That's where I'm catching most of my bites, 10 to 13 feet, and a 1/2 ounce jig would suffice better in that situation than the 3/8. I think the 3/8 is good to about 10 feet, but again, it all depends on the wind condition and how things are reacting. Maybe they want a slower presentation, so you use that 3/8 and maybe a little faster, but I should have had a 1/2 ounce tied on right now. So I want to catch them on a jig, right? And I do catch them on jigs. Excuse me. But there's sometimes, jigs just don't get that many bites. It's plain and simple. It's fact. Jigs get less bites. They get bigger bites, but they get less bites. So what is the thing to remedy that? What still gets big bites and still gets a lot of bites, and you're basically fishing with heavy tackle? Well, it's Carolina rig. And Carolina rig is a staple. It's a staple at Lower Otay. It's a staple at El Cap. It's a staple at Sutherland. It's a staple at Hodges. It's a staple. It's a San Diego staple. It's a countrywide staple across the U.S. A lot of people don't use it because they don't like it, because it's slow fishing. Well, jig fishing is slow for that fact. Jig fishing is mind-numbingly like crawling it on the bottom like 5-minute casts or longer. I mean, this Carolina rig can be 5-minute casts, but for me, it feels like I'm more in touch. So Carolina rig, this is my Carolina rod. I had Bree wrapped this for me when she was in San Diego. And this is an MHX blank. It's a 7.6 4-power MHX blank. Now, here it is, 904, 7.5 footer, 4 power. It has a little bit more of a moderate action. 20-pound test. You can go either mono or fluorocarbon, depending on what you want done. I actually have 20-pound mono on here right now, and so there's a couple of thoughts to that. Now, mono floats. I felt I was trying to, at the time I was fishing a lot of rocks. This is kind of old mono, and the reason I put it on there was because at the time I was fishing a lot of rocks, and I wanted that monofilament to like stay out of the rocks as it was getting drug along the bottom, instead of fluorocarbon when sinks and lays on the bottom, especially when you're making long cast or making very the casts are slow in retrieve, so everything tends to settle, you know. If you're fishing fluorocarbon, it's going to settle on the bottom. You're dragging that fluorocarbon on the bottom. If you're fishing monofilament, monofilament has a tendency to float, and it won't drag as much on the bottom, therefore not snagging as much with your weight, which we will get to. And I know I've talked about Carolina rigs on the juice in the past, but we're just gonna give you a refresher. This is what's going on right now. 20-pound monofilament to our leader, and our leader is, let's see if I can get it undone here. And of course it's tangled up, which is another just glorious thing about the Carolina rig. So anyway, so I got 20-pound mono here, or fluorocarbon, depending on what you want to do with it. If I'm fishing out in the mud, if I'm fishing around not a whole lot of rocks or whatever, but see, that's another thing too. It's between the mono and the fluorocarbon. Is fluorocarbon's much tougher than monofilament, and mono gets really chewed up quickly with this. Like the first foot, actually really close against the knot, is really gets chewed up quick. So you have to retie it. Fluorocarbon, you don't have to retie that much. Okay, so anyway, 20-pound test, 3/4 ounce sliding sinker. This is lead. You can use tungsten. I used tungsten last year. It was pretty cool. It was different. It was actually kind of a learning curve to use it. Glass bead kind of protects the knot. Swivel. And you're going to notice something here is that this is whittled down to like 3 feet. Usually I start with a 4 or 5 footer leader of 14-pound test, and 4 or 5 foot leader with 14-pound test, 2.0 owner 2.0 hook, offset hook. I don't have a wide gap on there, although I think this might be called a wide gap. Here, I'll show you. It's got a sprout bend on it. That's a 2.0. It fits perfectly with either a baby brush hog or a 4-inch jigger craw. And those are my 2 baits of choices. 4-inch jigger craw. We've talked about jigger craws in the past. The most important thing about fishing a Carolina rig, and that's how I caught most of my fish yesterday. Yesterday I caught 1 fish on a chatterbait, caught 1 fish on a jig, and I caught 21 on a Carolina rig. The most important thing about, and I had so many, I had way over 21. I probably had 40 friggin' short bites. Let it go, swing on them, miss them, whatever. But the important thing about fishing a Carolina rig is slow, 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 slow. If you're going slow, go slower. I have an 8-to-1 reel. How it works for me is I cast it out there, let it sink to the bottom, let it sit there for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. And then I come tight to it, and I don't drag it. Usually I don't drag it with the rod tip. I just leave the rod tip there and I turn the handle. I'll either turn the handle half a turn or one full turn. But I use an 8-to-1 reel, so that reel is taking up 32 inches at a time. One turn of that handle, one turn, moves that crawdad 30 inches. That's a lot. That's a lot for a crawdad to move. Think about it. And then you just leave it there. Leave it there, leave it there. Leave it there 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. Turn it again, and then turn it again, and all the way in. It's super slow. It's painfully slow. But it works. Everybody fishes it differently. You know, one of the things, and this goes back and forth, and Craig has talked about this too in the past, and you know, I'm telling you, I'm giving you the juice. This is straight off my float tube. This is what I did yesterday. This is how I caught them. And I'm not saying I'm the best angler out there, by far. I'm not even close. But this is what works for me. This will get you in the game and set you in the right direction of catching fish in San Diego. I'm not saying just specifically the Carolina rig. I'm just saying specifically as far as the juice goes. But everybody does it differently. I can sit here and tell you exactly how to do it. In my mind, telling you exactly how to do it. I'm thinking it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell this guy how to do this. And you're going to go out there and you're going to do it different. Because everybody does it different. Everybody's going to do it different. This will get you in the ballpark. I didn't tell you where to go. I didn't tell you where to cast it. I didn't tell you cast it right here, retrieve it this way. You're going uphill, downhill, you know, I even told you the depth, but that depth is not the specifics of exactly where those fish are, you know? It's still wide open. Like there's still so many variables. It used to be, things are different now, you know, with the whole internet, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Like there's so much information out there, but still there's so much information that's not being put out there. And even if I did tell you exactly, like, go to these GPS numbers and fish this, whatever, you know, fish this free rig on a downhill, coming downhill, like casting it into the bank and bringing it downhill towards you in this depth, and you're gonna find this rock, you're still gonna do it differently than I am doing it. And you may do it better than I, but you're gonna do it differently, and it's not that big of a concern to me just to sit here and tell you what tackle I'm using. You know, like, it's kind of out there anyway, but what you are getting is firsthand information that this stuff was working yesterday at specific lakes, and you can go out there with that confidence knowing that, you know, yesterday or last week or 2 weeks ago, or it has been going on, is that you could go out there in the morning and throw a chatterbait, whether it be a red one or a blue one or a green one or even a shad colored one, and still have that confidence of like, well, I know this worked. I know I'm in the ballpark. That's basically what it is. I know I'm going to be in the ballpark. I may not be behind home plate, but at least I'm in the ballpark, and I know I have confidence. This is going to give you enough confidence to fish that lure back, and maybe it'll help you. So that's your juice for the day.